You know, it's one of the most important stories out there, and we all should talk about it more because it goes to the heart of what it means to be a good person and what kind of country we want, what kind of world we want. So it's in our Adam Carolla subreddit podcast, but we're going to get into a thread specifically here because this has been gnawing at me. It's something we've always known, but to see it as obvious as it is, let's get into it. So Solid Ape 22 says, has Adam said anything about Fox News versus Dominion text messages? Has Chris brought it up in the news? Maybe on Reasonable Doubt, which Adam's not doing anymore, by the way. Just curious because he constantly rails against CNN and MSNBC for COVID coverage, which is fine. The rants are getting old, in my opinion, but does his criticism cut both ways? Even in this statement of the both ways thing, like this is important to understand that both ways imply that there's like an equal choice one way or the other, and that there's somehow this equivalency between the right and the left, which doesn't really exist anymore. Things have changed. And this story is a prime example of it, which is the right, a portion of the right, the MAGA right, the Fox News right, is not about doing anything good for anyone. It's about stealing from us. It's about foreign money trying to destroy this country. It is not equivalent. It is people who knew that they were bringing onto the show liars to lie about something very important, like our free and fair elections. And they were pushing a narrative that they did not believe. People understood, people putting this out there understood that this was not true, but they have to do what they're told. And I guess who pays their bills or whatever. What is the motivation behind lying to the country? Thinking just getting ratings. They're like, they want to get ratings and they need to lie in order to get ratings. They have to say things that are unbelievable in order to get people to stare at them and watch. The train wrecks that we're seeing across the country are train wrecks on Fox News, and you can't look away. That's what they're doing. Well, you can't put the word news in there then, because news implies that it's facts, that it's information, that it's objective, attempts at least at objective information. This is lies. It's Fox Lies. They should have to change their name to Fox Lies because that's what they do. They don't provide news. So why else is this so important? Well, we hear it on this subreddit, and those of us that are constant complainers about Adam, one of our biggest, and I think most, I would say it is the criticism which carries the most thought and weight behind it, is that Adam has changed from this comment here. Adam has changed, no longer plays it down the middle with his honest, biting criticism. Right. We don't agree with what he says, which is why it's not funny anymore, too. We're like, how can you ignore this? We think that if you want to be a part of Fox Lies, that you are a liar. And why on earth should we spend all our time listening to a liar? You're not that funny, man. We want it. We want insightful things coming out of your mouth, not lies. So compromised. People who get compromised by the right. There are a lot of things that cause people to get compromised from the right, but one of them is not low self-esteem, but no self-esteem. One of them is when things go bad for you and you're trying to make money, you will go to the side that throws money at your face in order to say what they want you to say. And Adam apparently has chosen that road, probably because things have not worked out in Hollywood like it looked like they would have. Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the Tonight Show, and Adam is doing a podcast, right? He's doing a podcast, and he can't get anything on TV, and he's not even, he's not what he used to be. And he will blame the liberal left, right? The liberal Hollywood. Well, it's so accurate that truth has a liberal bias. It's not even. It's not left. It's not like the right is ever right about anything. That's why they call themselves the right. They have to choose a word that makes you think right. They would always choose right because they're not right. They're not right about a lot of stuff. And the left's wrong about stuff too. Don't get me wrong, of course. But it's not like there's a middle even anymore. It's people that are actually lying to us, not caring about the consequences to make money and to listen to their handlers. How you cannot call that out as the antithesis of news. It is propaganda. It is trash. They should be arrested. I don't understand why you don't arrest like the Murdochs and stuff next time they come on U.S. soil. This should be unacceptable. We should ban them from having something called news. Absolutely not. Part of Dominion's lawsuit should be you have to change your name to Fox Lies because you are forever liars. You really are. And I'm not going to call that out, right? Is he too dumb to understand what happens, or he's scared, or he just is like, oh, this is a bad thing about my side. It's a bad thing about Fox where I'm trying to get a show, do something with them. It's a bad thing about that. Well, I'm not gonna rock the boat and say anything bad about them, regardless of how egregious it is. So there's the criticism from the board coming from Ken Braverman to your face because it's disgusting. I think Adam's brain's been broken in a very specific way. Tell me, Gobi has to go. Boomers like him have been led to believe that the mainstream media in the bag for the left, so anything nefarious Fox News does with the right is at worst as bad as what mainstream media does. He simply doesn't care. All right. You're kind of with him, Hopkins? College educated, middle upper class, lean. What are you saying? I totally the same way for a long time. Then I got real money and I leaned right, mostly due to taxes. I think it's clear that MM is left leaning. I think it's clear that Fox News was started to oppose that. Adam's very stupid, lazy in a few things like not reporting the ages of COVID deaths. Okay. Hopkins is a smart guy. So I hear this too. I have people I spend a lot of time with that are also on the right. It's so funny because like we're hanging out and they love me and they know I'm left, but it's, you know what? Once I got off Facebook, I can get away with my crazy political views. It doesn't matter anymore. When I was on Facebook, I had people that I hadn't talked to for 10 years that hated my guts because of what I was posting about the right. Doesn't happen that way. So now the people that don't, know that about me or whatever, I have great relationships with everybody, right and left. But the thing is about the real money thing. So yeah, I have friends with real money and they lean right and they complain about taxes. Because it's a lot of money, when you make $1 million and you're like, I gotta fork over a few $100,000 in taxes. Like, yeah, you're like, it's a few $100,000. I'm like, yeah, it's because you made $1 million. It's the way it is. Anyway, point is that, yeah, this happens. You start to see that tax and you start to lean right because you think that Republicans will lower your taxes because it's true. The one thing that Republicans try to do is lower taxes and not worry about the consequences, right? Like, it's all good and fine to say, oh, let's not tax anybody, and then realize that, even though a lot of that money gets wasted, a lot of that money gets used and pumps right back into the economy. As an economist, you understand that the government multiplier is huge, and you want to have a highly functioning, like adequately collecting and then redistributing government that leads to a healthy economy. So yeah, you make real money, you pay real taxes. Quit your bitching. We all pay the same amount. It's a progressive structure at a certain level. So people that are making the same amount of money as you are paying the same tax as you, all things being equal. Ceteris paribus there. So quit complaining. Just quit complaining. Now, this is wrong. Fox News was not started. Well, actually, it's not. It's kind of right. Fox News was started to oppose, but it wasn't to oppose necessarily the left. It's started to oppose anybody who's threatening their narrative and threatening their propaganda. It was started by the people post-Nixon who were so, basically blindsided by the entire media in the country kind of uniting when Watergate came out and details began to spread, that there wasn't this dissent. There wasn't a news station that was defending Nixon against these charges, basically. So that's why they were started. Is people who, I mean, you got the same people. Roger Stone in like a fundraiser or whatever in the Nixon administration, basically as a kid. Like this guy's still around doing this trash, committing these crimes. They've actually been convicted of crimes, and they were pardoned by the guy who they committed the crimes for in Trump. How that has not gotten more press, and like we need to have Supreme Court cases about this. Like you obviously can't pardon someone who's involved in a crime that you're part of. That's insane just because you're president. Like the powers that we gave to the president, that the forefathers gave to the president, essentially, and that we have inferred our presidential rights, are kind of ridiculous now. They're too much like a king to be real. Like we should have arrested Trump and locked him up a few months into his administration. Like there's no reason we should be waiting what is essentially like 7 years already. It's crazy. Now, so Fox News was started to attack anyone who's trying to bring the truth and point out horrible things like this company lying about our freaking democracy, lying about our free and fair elections that eventually led to an insurrection. And they absolutely helped fomenting that by not nipping in the bud and calling it what it was, and giving these retards that stormed the Capitol something to latch onto, like there's election fraud or something when there wasn't. It's disgusting. It's propaganda. It's criminal, and they should be taken off the air. Let's get real. And that's what you'd hear from Adam if Adam wasn't compromised or wasn't trying to get a job with them. You want to work for these assholes? Please. Disgusting. That's why we're pissed at you, Adam. You got to be better than that. Yeah, I think we're good. So just understand this is a humongous story. This is in a world today where information is so rapidly just ascending into our feeds and everything. We have to work. It's not like free speech of the past. It's not somebody yelling in a town square saying whatever they want. You can walk away from that person yelling in a town square. You can't walk away from your phone. The phone follows you. The phone's got legs. The phone sticks to you. It's magnetized to your brain at this point. We've got to start to work on our information and understand that it matters, the criteria, the validity of what we are reading, and it matters intent. Like this is why this is so awful. The intent was to deceive. The intent was to give people believing in conspiracy theories, giving them their dessert. You know, just trickling chocolate lies on top of your carrot cake. Not carrot cake, something better. What's that cake that everybody likes? I'm not a big cake eater, but there's cake that everybody asks for. What, you know, I can't remember what it is. Point is cheesecake. Everybody likes cheesecake. Cheesecake factory. This is just chocolate lies dripped all over cheesecake is what they're putting out, and we should not take a bite of that. It's going to raise your cholesterol. You're not going to feel good afterward. You feel good for a few seconds when you laugh at that conspiracy theory, and then you go, ooh, what am I doing? Change the channel. So Adam, if they're still good in you, why don't you call Fox News for being lying sacks of shit? Maybe you'll get a job from somebody else. Have you tried that? You try that. All right. Good luck, everybody. May all your podcasts be listenable, and may all your podcasters be on the level. I think that's all we're asking for.